Okay, this day in music history, guys, for this day, April 22nd. This day in 1957, Elvis Presley had his question-built music gates installed at Graceland, and the gates were designed by Abby Susser and costume build-up by John Dillers of Memphis Doors, Inc. This day in 1964, the president of the National Foundation, I mentioned this one, offered a free haircut to the next number one group of the U.S., the Beatles, and looks if it gets a farther duster on his head. This day in 1965, the Beatles were number one on the UK charts with "Ticket to Ride," taken from the film album Help, and it was the group's seventh UK number one hit. This day in 1966, I already mentioned this one about Wild Thing, was the number one single. This day in 1966 as well, turned down dozen local groups appeared in a Battle of the Hands and gig in Matwin Cabell Royer Drome in New Jersey. All acts performed 3 songs in the Rogers first place, second, and Sony the Surfires, and third place went to the Castellos with Bruce Springsteen on vocals. The 3 winners were given an opportunity to perform at the Royal Drome in the following week as part of a major concert headlined by the Crystals. This day in 1967, in the Popular of Monkeys poll, contradicted the music peeper disc music ego. Davy Jones received 63 of the votes, and Mickey Dolenz 22nd, and Peter took 8%, and Mike Nersmith 7%. Interesting. I mentioned that one. This day in 1978, Bob Marley in the Willers performed the One Love Peace concert in Jamaica. It was Marley's first public appearance in Jamaica since bringing a wild assassination attempt a year and a half earlier. This day in 1984, Prince released his 7th album Around the World in a Day. The following up Purple Rain, it was the first issued on his Presley Park important primary record at his Presley Park Studios, and the album became Prince in the Revolution's second number one album on the U.S. Billboard 200, and its 4 singles reached the number 10 of the Billboard 100, Raspberry Beret and Pop Life. This day in 1989, the pausing controversy over its video where Madonna dances in front of the burning crossers like a prayer starred at 3 weeks on the number one in the U.S. single charts, in the singer's 7th U.S. number one, which was also a number one in the UK. And that is this day in music history. And birthdays today, I already mentioned some of the birthdays. Machine Gun Kelly was born this day back in 1990. That was American rapper. Daniel Johns, I already mentioned him. 1974, Shavo Ojin, a bassist with an American with a American heavy metal band, System of Down. I already mentioned that one. Let's see here. Kenny Leons formed an American alternative band that Lemonade's a cover of Simon and Garfunkel's Mrs. Robinson became the band's most successful single in the early 1990s. And this day in 1951, Paul Cormack, English singer and songwriter. Paul Cormack was a member of Ace, and who had the 1974 UK number 20 single "How Long." He replaced a keyboardist, John Holland, in Squeeze, and in 1981, and sang the number one single "Tabidid." was a number of Mike and the Machines sang lead on their 1989 US number 1 in the UK and single number 2 single The Living Years. And McCormick had also worked with artists such as Elton John, The Pretenders, B.B. King, and played keyboards on the Smiths' A No Miss Debate album. Now works as a solo artist. And this day in 1950, American blues magician Forrest McDonald. He has written hundreds of songs and played on many records, including working on Bob Seger, and McDonald played the guitar solo on the hit Old Time Rock and Roll, which featured in 1983 film Risky Business. Yeah. And Peter Core, an American guitarist, Pete Core, he was lead guitarist for the former Muscle Souls Rhythm section and recorded it Fame recording studio in Muscle Shundle's album, Alabama, and Muscle Solo's sound studio in Sheffield, Alabama, and he recorded the Joe Breeze, Bob Seger, and Joe Cooker, Bose Scurries, Paul Simon, the Staple Singers, Rod Stewart, Barbra Streisand, Wilson Pickett, Hank Williams Jr., among other many artists. Carr died on June 27th, 2000 at age 70. Yeah, well, that will all your music hits in this day in music history.